So let's get started with setting up the languages system. So I'm in the admin, I'm going to go into settings and languages. And here you see all of the languages that you want to offer on your website. English is always going to be in there. We say that English is probably going to be the default language for your website, and then you add in whichever others you want. We've added in French and Spanish. You saw in the previous video in the demo I was using Spanish. Let's add in one new one. Let's say, I don't know, we want to add in German as a language. Title, as always, that's what your clients are going to see. So enter a title for your clients to see on the front end of the website. It has to be active. If it's not active, no one will see it, no one can use it. You then have two options for making it visible in different parts of the system. So, or rather, I should say, for making it visible in the language selector on the front end. We saw that again in the previous video in the demo. I clicked on the little language icon up at the top and chose the languages. Who do you want to be able to see this option to choose the language? Do you want it to be available for all visitors to your website, in which case check this and everyone will see it as an option? Or do you only want it to be available for admins? That means people who are signed into your website like yourself as a system admin, in which case check this. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to check both. If, for example, you're setting up a new language, you as the admin want to be able to test it out, but you don't want your visitors or your clients to see it yet, you would uncheck this. You'd only say visible for admins. Otherwise, if you want everyone to see it, just check the visible for all visitors box. Do you want it to be the default language? Now, the default language will be loaded when someone visits your website for the first time before they've chosen a different language. So normally default is going to be English. That's what it will show your website in. If you want your website to always load up in German, in Spanish, whatever, for everyone who comes to it, check default in whichever language you want to make the default. Final thing down here, you have an abbreviation because this text might not fit on all devices. If someone is looking at your website on a small phone screen, they don't want a big name of the language, so type an abbreviation, DE for German or GER or whatever you want it to be, something a little bit shorter just for mobile devices. Position, you know from everything in the admin, it shows how to sort the list, so what's top of the list. English probably will be position 1, the other languages maybe after English, position 2, then they just sort by name within that position. But yeah, that's I think everything you need for this, so let's save it. Let's go back now briefly and look at the list and see what we've got. So we've got right now English is the default, it's visible for everyone. French is not visible for anyone right now, so we've added it in but no one can see it. German, again, is visible for everyone, and Spanish is visible for everyone. So we've set up these languages. In the next video, we're going to look at how you actually enter the translations for these different languages. One final thing I'll show you now, though, quickly. I talked about this in the previous video. In order for your clients to see that language selector on the front end of your website, you do need to activate it one time. So go into Website, Layout, and Layout Setup. This is where you make the general sort of changes to the layout of your website. There's a section here called Top Bar. Open that up, and here you need to make sure that the language selector active is checked. If you uncheck this, it's going to totally disappear from your website. No one will see it. If you check it, it's on the front end of your website. So that's the setup part done. We've added in the languages. We've activated it on the front end of the website. In the next video, we will look at how to actually enter the translations. In other words, the different texts for the different parts of your website.